This is an important message. This is an important message. So, no, I'm not a psychologist, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt. From the academic studies that I have done on manipulation and coercion, the people who are easiest to fool are people who are absolutely certain that they are critical thinkers. They're absolutely certain that they are not susceptible to manipulation. The more confident that you are that you cannot be manipulated, the easier to manipulate you are. And this is because the confidence supersedes your critical thinking aspect. Your ability to, that's actually good, me too. My default assumption going into any conversation is that I'm probably already making a mistake, probably already wrong, I probably don't have a leg to stand on. So when somebody pushes back on one of my ideas, instead of me just reacting, well, I'm right, I think about what they say. I think about the critiques that they have of me, and I take them seriously. Perhaps I have not thought about this as clearly as I should have. Perhaps this is a really important consideration that I have neglected. And if it turns out that that's not the case, then I'm sure, or at least more sure, because I've entertained the possibility that I could have been mistaken. When I am making a decision, one of the things that I think to myself is, did I make this? Or has some external force directed me and given me the impression that it's me making the decision, but it's really not. It's some other thing. Because this is how reactionary politics work. When you find yourself arguing with somebody who's arguing in bad faith, they have tricked you already. They have tricked you into engaging with them in a waste of time, right? And this is a subtle form of manipulation, and because it's only taken a few seconds of your time, it's not that huge of a deal. Maybe it took a little bit of your emotional investment, but you can accept that as a sunk cost and walk away if you are aware that you're being manipulated. The problem is that a lot of times when people are manipulated, especially when they are so very sure that they have not been, they take some of that manipulation and they internalize it. They accept it as something which is theirs, something which is part of their identity. This is one of the concepts that I want to discuss later when we're having a full conversation about white fragility. Part of the problem with, yes, your brain is very good at rationalizing its actions. That's well said. That's exactly right. Very well said. One of the challenges in overcoming this idea, hey, what's up, Sebs? Welcome in. Thank you very much for the host. I'm going to have to make that a different sound because that's the same sound it makes when people follow. And Dorian Sapiens, look at that. I've got all kinds of cool stuff going on. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for stopping in. But yes, so part of, we've got a party now. Part of the difficulty in overcoming white fragility is the idea of whiteness is impressed upon people. It's an external idea. It's an external identity that is impressed upon somebody. You are white, and that person becomes manipulated by this idea of whiteness. Whether or not they've thought critically about it, whether or not they've intentionally accepted it, that doesn't matter. This impression from an external force becomes an internalized part of them. It is now a part of their identity. It is part of how they make their decisions. It is integral. So when you challenge that whiteness, it's not simply a matter of privilege. I think that people on the left make this mistake. When you challenge somebody's whiteness, you're not just challenging their privilege. You are, but what you may not realize is that you're challenging that person's very identity. Part of what they depend on for their idea of self. Part of what they depend on to make decisions in the world, to make judgments about the world. Part of their relationship with the world. But this is the most important thing to one's identity, is the relationship that they have with the external world. And this is defined by whiteness. So you're not just challenging their privilege, you're challenging their all of these important factors. And what Cambridge Analytica did, and the reason why we're having so much problem with Trumpism, is it put people in echo chambers. Well, I think that the video is going to finish talking about it right now. And this is one of the things that I find is so bizarre to think about, because Chris Wiley came out and he, I think, started blowing the whistle. I want to say it was 2015, maybe it was 2016, but it was before the election, and it didn't matter at that point. The damage had been done, and not only did that not matter at that time, it still hasn't mattered, because we have done nothing about it, to my knowledge. Sure, I would imagine that the FBI and the CIA are concerned about these things, and they probably have something set up to track the massive manipulation that's going on, but I mean, what are they doing? What is their plan? What is our plan is probably a better question. How do we intend to combat this idea, these kinds of algorithms that are designed to digitally manipulate us?